I don't know if you're anything like me, but oftentimes when you reread the gospel and you hear those phrases like Jesus calling this woman a dog, it's like, what are you talking about, right? I mean, a lot of us experience that I know this man, when Jesus flipped the table and got angry, they were confused. Like, why is Jesus doing these things? But a lot of times we miss the subtleties in language, because in English, I mean, when you call someone a dog now, it's awful, right? I mean, who would want to be called a dog, right? But I want to give you the context. I want you to understand that, first of all, Jesus, think about what he ends up doing. He ends up healing this person's daughter. And then he says to her, "You have great faith." So first of all, yes, Jesus would never call someone a word intending it to mean that it would be really bad, okay? So when you look at the gospel, understand that Canaanites in Israel, they were enemies of Israel. Imagine all the stories that we've been listening about in the first readings about Israel, about the idol worship, about all those things where they would reject the Lord, they would hate God. The Canaanites were those people. The Canaanites were those people where God came and said he gave Israel the land, and that land was where the Canaanites were. So imagine, I want you to see the context of this woman. She's not an Israelite. She's literally a people, sworn enemies of the Israelites. And so that's the context of this gospel. And she's calling out to Jesus to understand, but salvation was given to the Jews first. We all understand that. And so what Jesus was trying to do, like I said yesterday, with Jesus walking on water, he wanted to show his people around and teach us especially what it means to have strong faith. That this woman would be an example of a person who would have stronger faith than even the Jews themselves. Does that make sense? Her faith would be so strong that even if the teaching was the Jews would have salvation first, meaning that God's teachings would be to them, and in turn it would be to all of us, the Gentile people. Canaanites were sworn enemies of the Jews. So in all surfaces, she should not get help right now. And Jesus wanted her to see that and understand that, but also mainly to test her faith, because he ends up blessing her daughter. And so imagine, she calls him, she says, "Have pity on me, Lord, Son of David." Jesus doesn't say anything. Can you imagine that time when you ask someone for help and they just ignore you? For me, I would just leave. All right, you don't want to help me, go away. Some of you, you're tough people, so you're going to keep asking, right? And so the Canaanite woman asked Jesus, and he doesn't respond. And then the disciples say, "Send her away." So in their understanding, oh, she's a Canaanite woman, why would Jesus help you? So second time says, "Send her away," but she doesn't stop. She says, "Please help me." And then Jesus says these things. I was reading this idea of calling her dog. Another way of saying it is, in a household, you would have a family, you would have children, and then households would have, like, the word that she used was little puppy, not meaning a dog that is useless, that is thrown out, but you're still in the household, but you don't get the food first. It goes to your household first and then to the dog. But then this is what she says. So imagine Jesus says this, and normally she would be like, "Okay, well, I'm not going to get help." But she says, "No, but even then, but we also still get the scraps." Her faith was so strong that she responded in humility in her place. She knew who God was, and she knew who she was. She responded not with entitlement, not with selfishness, not with pride, not with ego. She says, "Still, that is correct, that the Jews get first salvation, but I too want something from this salvation." And then Jesus says, "Woman, great is your faith. Your faith is strong." And then Jesus said, "Let it be done for you as you wish." My dear friends, our faith has to be that strong. Oftentimes we get to a place where when we ask the Lord for things, or we ask the Lord to help our family, or to help this or to help that, and we don't get a response, we believe that God is not listening to us. How often does that happen? When you look at this woman, everything is pointing towards Jesus will not help you right now. But did she stop? No. She pushed forward, trusting that Jesus would help her and Jesus would guide her. It's the same for us. Every single time we ask for something, we ask for stronger faith, we ask for help in our marriage, help with our children, and sometimes we might not get the response that we want, but it doesn't mean that we should stop. We keep going, trusting that our God would help us, and that faith is the one, dear friends, that unites us to God and connects us with Him.